Before we get started, I have a quick favor. I've been self-funding the Finding Genius podcast for 5 years now. I've done over 3,000 episodes. And as you can see on YouTube, we're up over 1 million views on the channel, which is fantastic. The next thing I really want to push on is to get up to 10,000 subscribers. Because once we do, we'll be able to put a donate button and we'll be able to solicit donations to help keep the podcast running and to also get the Finding Genius Foundation moving along. We have a big project studying anxiety, depression, and PTSD and working on a product to help people overcome these problems because I've seen them explode recently after the last 2 years of the whole virus situation. So if you would, please subscribe to the podcast. That would help us tremendously. Give us a thumbs up and check in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It's about $5. If you could buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it. It would help keep the channel going, and I love coffee. Thank you.
Forget frequently asked questions.
Common sense, common knowledge, or Google.
How about advice from a real genius? 95% of people in any profession are good enough to be qualified and licensed. 5%
Go above and beyond.
they become very good at what they do, but only
0.1%.
are real geniuses. Richard Jacobs has made it his life's mission to find them for you. He hunts down and interviews geniuses in every field: sleep science, cancer, stem cells, ketogenic diets, and more. Here come the geniuses. This is the Finding Genius Podcast
With Richard Jacobs.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Finding Genius Podcast, now part of the Finding Genius Foundation. Today, my guest is Scott Frohman. He's the founder of what's called Odyssey Elixir. So we're going to talk about what the elixir contains, what it does. The website is odysseyelixir.com. So welcome, Scott. Thanks for coming.
Great. Thanks for having me, Richard.
Yeah, tell me a bit about your background and what led you to form this company.
Well, my background has been, I've done various different businesses along my way. I started off in internet marketing with like lead generation and, somehow got more involved in like wellness type products and stuff like that. And I don't know, a friend of mine made this like mushroom powder about 8, maybe even 10 years ago. And I started adding it to my coffee in the morning and driving to work. I realized that, wow, the sky is bluer, the leaves are greener. And when I got to work, I didn't feel like I needed that extra cup of coffee with the caffeine. And I just felt a more sustainable energy. And like, I just felt really good. So when I sold my last company, which was a hemp CBD company, and, I thought to myself, what do I really want to do? And I said, I really want to do something that was near and dear to my heart. And that was connecting me with something that, worked so well for me. I really wanted to try and put it into a product that, people could really, enjoy and get a lot of benefits from. So I came up with the idea of Odyssey Elixir.
Okay, so are there different flavors, different components or ingredients? Like what are the ingredients of it?
The main premise really was about cognitive energy, like more functional energy for, kind of like cognitive and mood boosting performance, so, better focus, better clarity, better overall, like, mood. And how we got there was really like starting with like, originally with just really good, clean ingredients. We use, real fruit juice concentrate, but like, very low, no added sugar, no artificial sweeteners. And then what we did is we added really, to get the effect, was really utilizing lion's mane mushrooms, which are lion's mane are really good for cognition, focus and clarity, overall brain function, and cordyceps, which are really fantastic for like endurance, athletic endurance performance. So we were able to really kind of get that kind of focus, that clarity, that energy, kind of like developing a product so that, when people got up in the morning and, look, there's a lot of movement with energy drinks today, but, people want more than just the caffeine and the taurine. We wanted to give people a more well-rounded product, not jacking them up and then seeing them crash, off like typical energy drinks, but rounding out that caffeine, giving it a little bit of more sustainable energy without the crash, without the jitters, with that kind of cognitive, kind of result.
Yeah, I've noticed that, if you take medications, it's like a punch to the head. They're really strong, and a lot of them have side effects. And natural supplements, natural substances, they're not as strong, and they don't work maybe as strongly, but then you don't have side effects either. So there's that trade-off there, I've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed that with your formulations.
I think with our formulation, I've seen that people were able to really kind of really say, like, a lot of people say, like, I can't give up my energy drink because, it's like this necessary evil, like kind of like start my day, here, I drink it now. Here comes the roller coaster ride. I'm going to rev right on up. I'm going to crash down. I'm going to try and figure my way from there. And, but like, if I don't get going, then I'm not going. And I really can't live without it because so many people got used to it. This product has been a great product because it's been giving people the ability to really cross over, from these kinds of energy type of drinks. That was like the only thing that was really accessible. Because the other things that were other kinds of energy drinks that were more natural just didn't have enough oomph to kind of give people that support to give them that they felt like, oh, I could kind of make the crossover. And now our drink was able to do it. So we started off with our original, which is the Odyssey Elixir. And that had just 85 milligrams of caffeine, a very low dose, kind of like the kind of amount of caffeine you'll find in like a cup of coffee. And then from there, we realized as we went into the convenience stores to sell a product, the DNA was of people that really wanted this kind of like, more, kind of like used to the higher caffeine, maybe a little bit more male dominant. People with the original was sold in more like natural type stores, maybe a little more plant-based, a little more sensitive to the caffeine. Well, convenience, they really were used to that 200 milligrams of caffeine. And what we did is we came up with the Odyssey 222s. So those have higher milligram strengths of caffeine, but no taurine, which is really great. And also given that kind of rounding out the caffeine with the same milligram strengths of the lion's mane and the cordyceps. We also put some ginseng in and some L-theanine, which also helps with overall like mood and rounding out that caffeine. So
what's the problem with taurine, by the way? You said it's not included. What does it do? Why is it in drinks, and why didn't you have it?
We didn't add it, because I don't know if like all taurine is synthetic, but like, like the research that I did on it was like, I really wasn't finding like, like a really like everything seemed to be not, artificial. And I'm not saying that they're all artificial. Maybe there's some that are, not artificial. So we didn't really want to use anything like artificial in our product, number one. Number two is we didn't feel we needed that kind of like, that kind of energy from the taurine that was like really kind of gives that spike up and that kind of like wiriness, kind of like energy. Like when I drink an energy drink, if I drink an energy drink that has 200 milligrams of caffeine, that seems to be okay. But when I drink a drink with 200 milligrams of caffeine with the taurine, that's when I started feeling those sweats and that kind of like itchiness, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, this is not what we need. We want to live a better existence in this world. You know what I mean? We want to have a health.
Oh, so like it amps you up too much if you have the taurine or caffeine.
That's how I felt about it. And I felt like we can do better. We could do better by giving people cognitive energy, mood boosting performance rather than, just about the idea of just, wiring people up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, some of the energy drinks, right? You feel wired and then tired. But I tried, years ago, like the butter coffee, and that seemed to blunt the caffeine effects and give good energy for a while. And then around here locally, they had some mushroom coffee, scoop of mushroom powder, and that made me feel really good. I felt awake and alert, but calm. I didn't feel crazed or anything. So I'm guessing that the Odyssey Elixir probably has a similar feeling, right?
That's it. And instead of doing it in a coffee beverage, we did it in a sparkling beverage. You see, what we do is we teamed up with a mushroom manufacturer that basically decades in the business, and they extract out the fiber and just being left with this, high potency concentrate that we're able to get to mix within the drink. So we get all the properties of the lion's mane and the cordyceps that help for the cognition and the energy and kind of overall well-being. Yet it doesn't muddy up the drink. So like there's no soot in the bottom of it or anything like that. And it's really exciting because we use very high potency of the lion's mane and the cordyceps. And we really formulated just a product that when people drink the drink, they're like, wow, I feel really great. Just like you just said.
Yeah. What other feedback have you gotten? What are some specific comments people have given you that gave you insight into how they feel?
On the feeling, it's like everyone says the same. It's like, they're like, I cannot believe I drink this drink and I just feel like I'm just I feel more present. Like most people are like, oh my God, like wherever I'm doing, I just feel like I'm like more engaged. If I'm doing work, if I'm, having conversation with people, if I'm, going to do a workout, or if I'm going for a run, or playing tennis. You hear that a lot. People playing sports, they all say it all the time. They say, wow, it's just amazing how it makes me feel.
Is the recommendation to have it once a day, with which meal or with every meal? Like, how much is too much? How much is enough?
Look, on the 222s, which we call it, we say really one a day. You shouldn't really drink more than 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day, which is, but, we have 222 milligrams. So like not drinking more than, one or one and a half in a day, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to go over that recommended amount of caffeine. But like, we see people drinking, 2 a day of our 85 milligrams, or maybe they're drinking a 222 in the morning to get started. And then they like at lunch an 85 milligram, of the Odyssey Elixir in the afternoon, stuff like that. And then we also have a non-caffeine version called Revive. And I'm actually drinking that right now. And I love it because it gives you, where you don't want more caffeine at the end of the day, but you want something that's kind of functional, that's kind of like going to kind of help you with the, finishing off your day in a good way and without having additional caffeine. And we actually added some magnesium and zinc into that and some vitamin C. So we made it more replenishment. So as you go throughout the day, you're running hard, let's say, you're doing all the things you're doing, you're busy, obviously the body gets depleted, so we kind of made that for like a little bit more replenishment with all the, with the lion's mane and the cordyceps too.
Any other mushrooms that you've tried? Is there a particular ratio between the lion's mane and the cordyceps that you found works best?
Yeah, we did. We really felt like doing a little bit more on the lion's mane, for the cognitive performance, was key. And we felt like, cordyceps, most people don't realize, but cordyceps is like fastly growing, mushroom, getting a lot of popularity now. It's really good for like just overall well-being and really good for like, endurance, and, people like it. So, but we found that, it's really more important, that people felt like, maybe a little bit more like leaned in on the cognitive side. Like, let's face it, we all want to make better decisions, right, Richard? We all want to like be more clear. And, so we felt like the lion's mane, was better to lean in on that a little bit more and, a little bit just slightly less on the cordyceps.
What about reishi or some of the other mushrooms? Have you checked into them, or is lion's mane and cordyceps plenty?
I love them, I think the reishi is great. And you know what, I would love to, and when we first started, we actually had a lineup which we had products that were for immunity and products for sleep. And, we use reishi for like more like, this kind of like, helping out with like stress and stuff like that, and, just calming and, and stuff like that. But when we really looked at Odyssey, we really built the product for, more of a kind of like the day use, like as an alternative to, the typical energy drinks that are out there that have not had like, it's old formulation, most every energy drink is the same caffeine, taurine, sucralose, or added sugar. And, not to say anything better about sucralose, but, artificial sweeteners, you know what I mean? And, we felt like the world deserves better, and a better functional energy, more well-rounded, more attributes. And that's the lane we decided to play in. Like, but I'd love to have like more of a relaxation product that was more of like a, end of the day kind of like chill with reishi and stuff like that. I'd love to do that, but you got to play in your lane. And I really think it's just time for, I think the energy market, the consumer market just really wants and is asking for something better, than the typical old school, what mom and dad drank from yesteryear that is still the same formulations, even in the newer products, except for ours. So I'm really excited to get something better.
Well, first of all, what do you guys sweeten with? Is there anything needed to sweeten?
We sweeten with, first we start with the base, which is the fruit juice concentrate. So it's already like has a little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness from the fruit juice concentrate. I mean, let's face it, you have fruit juice, but we use a concentrate. So it's not like we're just using like heavy, most of our drinks only have like 15 to top 25 calories with very low net carbs. And then we additionally sweeten with erythritol and monk fruit.
Okay. Why do you think, my guess is cost. but I mean, how much cheaper would it be to just make a standard drink with sucralose and, artificial everything and whatever mushrooms? Like, is it really that much more expensive to have good ingredients like you have?
It's ridiculous, Richard. I mean, honestly, it's like, when I look at what their margins are of these other companies and what it costs to make those products versus what it costs us to make our product, it's like, it's costing us twice the amount of money to make our product. The mushroom alone comes with a real cost. The fruit juice concentrate, we use real fruit juice concentrate that I didn't realize going into this. Like when you have a bad season of like blackberry or a bad season of like pineapple or like dragon fruit, like, oh my God, like all of a sudden you're like, oh, the pricing, it's like the pricing just got jacked up because there's just like low supply. It's really shocking, But the other thing is the L-theanine, the mushrooms, the L-theanine, the ginseng, and the fact that we use a real fruit juice concentrate, it adds to the overall cost. But, we would rather work on, first of all, our product is a premium product. It goes for, a slight premium price, and people who are in the know are willing to pay for that. The younger generation today are spending more money on food and beverage than we've ever done in the past. And, look, we've been able to really get our costs down. We continue to give people the best possible price. We're not that much more expensive than everybody else. And, we found a niche that's working for everybody, the consumer and our distributors and our retailers and us. So, but yeah, it does.
Okay. Is there anyone that, shouldn't have the drink? If they're too old, too young, pregnant, certain conditions, or does it seem to work for everybody?
Pregnant people, we obviously, we love pregnant people. And my wife and I got 2 children. I love my kids and I love my wife was pregnant. But, I don't think that, I have enough, to suggest whether pregnant people should drink the drink or not. I kind of think that caffeine's not a good idea in the first place, and our products do have caffeine. So, but, older people, man, my mother-in-law, my mother's 81 years old, and she loves to drink. You know what I mean? All her friends love to drink the drink. I don't really think that, we're seeing any issues with elderly people drinking the drink and having any issues. Matter of fact, the only issue I think they're having is that they're really enjoying it because, it's funny, we really focused a lot more on Gen Zs and like kind of forward-thinking millennials. But I'll tell you this, the baby boom generation is a huge market for us. And we're seeing so many of them that are just wanting more of that cognitive edge and drinking the drink. It's become a much bigger piece of the business than we would have expected.
Okay. What's next for the product line, or do you still have a long way to go before you add anything to it?
I think where we're at right now is really dialed it in. We dialed in on the flavors. We love the flavors. The latest, flavor formulations have come out absolutely fantastic. We're really pleased about that. The formulations as far as the effects have been fantastic. I think right now, Richard, where we're at now is really like we just got into students Target. We're starting to roll out to select Targets in certain cities and states where we have proper distribution. And Kroger just skewed us for Ohio, and we're getting, opportunities with our distributor there to roll out to Kroger's in Ohio. And, we're doing fantastic in Wegmans and Central Market, just got H-E-B in Texas and so many other things. So many big corporate headquarters we just got into. We're actually, our product is in Uber and Shopify and Meta Facebook and so many others. And I think that's really exciting to see. I think right now it's really supporting it correctly. The product's doing really well. We do a little bit of label change. We're going to simplify it a little bit, make it a little bit more clear. But right now it's really about awareness, Richard, and doing podcasts like this with you is really helpful because like right now it's like we got this amazing restaurant and now we got to make sure that enough people really know about it.
Okay. Well, very good. So where can people go to get the Odyssey Elixir? You mentioned a bunch of stores. So it sounds like many groceries are now starting to have it. What about online? Amazon, your website? Like where else can people get it?
Yeah, Amazon, our website, Vitamin Shop, Walmart.com, VitaminShop.com, OdysseyElixir.com, our own website. Yep, and certainly Amazon. But those are some of the places where people can get it online.
Okay, well, very good. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me, Richard. Again, appreciate it as well.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at findinggeniuspodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.